Hey guys, I'm going to do a video. We're going to talk about the 3D and 5D split, and I wanted to kind of do this video to present some things and be like, are you ready for it? First of all, do you even believe, acknowledge? I'm sure you've been, if you're a spiritualist like me, you've heard about the 3D 5D split. A lot of this comes back from Dolores Cannon, but she's not the only one. She's a big one of it though, where it talks about 3D Earth. It's kind of a lower density, and then there's this 4D, which is almost kind of like this bridge that still exists, and jumping timelines. A lot of people are talking about this. If you watch and you do searches, Bashar, is one, that is a channeled being that talks about jumping timelines. For example, I like his analogy with the trains. Like, say you've got trains running parallel. We have parallel realities, and we kind of jump, and then, but inevitably, we won't be able to jump these trains so easily. They're going to kind of go like this, and it's going to be harder to get on that train. The one we want, maybe the one to 5D Earth. And so we want to be like, okay, I feel there's something happening. It's kind of like the Mayan calendar ended, and I'm sure some of you have noticed the Mandela effect, right? Did you see the Sinbad movie in the 90s and now it doesn't exist? And then certain things like the Bernstein Bears, Fruit Loops, and Jiffy Peanut Butter, Jif, and all that, all the little things, okay, that are like, wait a minute, I remember this. And other people share that memory, the Mandela effect, okay? So that's one way to know, yes, jumping timelines or an old world passing away and going into a new world is a thing. So right now Pluto is in Aquarius, which is a big thing. And so during this time, we're kind of experiencing some of this 3D, 5D, and then the 4D bridge that is happening. And to me, with my channeled messages, there's a couple of them. When it permanently stations November 19, there's a couple different realities we could be in. We could be in a beautiful, loving, Christ consciousness type of 5D thing where people start to love each other, wars begin to cease, or a creepy AI world of technology where there's an eye on you at all times, and it's kind of big brothery. Okay? And that's the one where, they speak of wanting to upload consciousness to the cloud. Okay? And I've kind of talked about that on one of my spirit talks. We don't want to do that. That's not the way to achieve immortality. Though they will try to sell people on it very, very hard. That's part of the matrix control. Because one of the things, those that control the matrix, you could say, that run the prison, is to be able to control the mind. Is it can be very hard to do. That's why they have to use crafty manipulations and everything. There's a thing back in the day, when Carlos Castaneda wrote the books, in the 60s. There was a thing called the forward installation. I do have a video, the forward installation. If you do a search for it, you'll find it. But one of the things he talked about, kind of the predator, the forward installation, and then the flyers and how they can feed on us. Just kind of like the Matrix, how we're batteries, we're food for the predator. And so one of the things he says, which is very powerful, when Don Juan is talking to Carlos Castaneda and educate him, he was his benefactor, and he talks about how the predator, he did something very, serious. He gave us their mind. So one of the things I was talking with Michael a little bit about it, and I'm like, what's one of the ways that the predator could have given us their mind? So one of the things, if you look in your living room, I'm betting you and everyone else has a television. So back especially in, the 50s, when television became a thing, it was put in every home. And almost all over the world exists a TV. That's one way the predator gave us their mind, and it became our mind. And we call it television programming. And with certain things, when they want to have news, to put us in fear. It's always negative, right? We know the news is negative. How often do they talk about a good thing? But even certain TV shows and various, or even a lot of action movies and violence. And then, of course, implementing things like video games, which can be very violent and things like that. All of this. So, that is one way you could say the predator of the foreign installation gave us their mind and it became our mind. So, think about it. Just even how heavily we've all grown up with TV at this point. I think most of us have and stuff. And there are some people that don't even put on TV anymore because they don't want to be programmed. They understand the power of it. So, but some of us are like, no, I don't want to get rid of the TV. There are still some things I like to watch, and I get that. So, but you got to be very careful. But what would happen if you took away the television, you said, I'm done with it, and say you even got off the matrix, the internet, which is another, what used to be called the World Wide Web. It kind of catches you. Okay, in the web, there's that. They took the www out a long time ago, but it's the World Wide Web. Okay, there's a predator on that web. Okay, but what if all those things were taken out? There was a time period where human beings did not have televisions, did not have computers, did not have phones, to be programmed. We call it a cell phone, like a prison cell. Okay, you might be able to set it down, but how easily can you set it down? This is all part of the setup. There is a theory that Earth is school, true, but also there is a prison being run on Earth. But this is beginning to crumble down. Those that have the power over the matrix, it is crumbling and crumbling down because there are spiritualists who have been growing and evolving and are awakening, and that was a setup. Us coming in and incarnating in this lifetime, and everybody has the ability to do it. It can be done. There needs to be a conscious choice, and kind of like Goethe says, when that happens, providence sets in. Okay, that's what happens. But how can, if you're in process and you're like, okay, I feel there's this 3D, 5D split, I feel it's coming, I can't explain it. Is this the rapture? It kind of is, okay? So how can I be a part of that? Now, if you're having any kind of doubts about this, I know it's a new age concept in some way. That is correct, but not necessarily anymore. Now, this is Shaolin Master Shi Heng Yi. Hopefully I'm pronouncing his name right. I follow him on YouTube. He's usually the Mulligan Brothers will show his stuff. I came across him talking about this very thing, the 3D, 5D split. He says it in a little different way than Dolores Cannon and some New Agers do, but he's basically saying the same thing is coming. So I want you guys to listen to his words, what he says. I mean, it'll blow your mind like, okay, that's a Shaolin Master. Let me listen to what he has to say. So let me go ahead and play him here and listen to what he has to say. Let me get him up by the microphone. Okay. We'll get it.
Listen. It's easy to get dissatisfied. It's easy to get frightened. It's easy to become fearful. It's easy to lose hope. It's easy to lose perspective. It's easy to get lost. We are at the moment in a cycle of life where everybody, if you're just a little bit aware, you can feel something is shifting. Mm-hmm. Some people are not willing to maybe adapt to the change. Some people are not strong enough to adapt to the change. Some people don't know how to put it into practice in order to go with the change. There will come the time, and it's not going to take long, where a natural separation is going to take place. A natural separation. The ones that are able to read the signs, that are able to go with what is happening, to to adapt to the changes this world is bringing to us, they will move on to another world. They will move on to another area, to another cycle of us humans being right now here on the earth. And other people that are unwilling, unable, maybe incapable of adapting to the coming changes. It is simple like this. They will stay with the old world, which is about to end. That's the message. That's all what this is about. Feeling that it's time for a new, something old, an old era is about to come to an end. A new era is about to come. This is worldwide happening. It's happening inside our monastery. It's happening inside of me.
Yeah. Very powerful. Very powerful. So he's a Shaolin monk. He's not necessarily a New Ager. He's not doing crystals and things like that. You know, I mean, he might have a crystal collection. I don't know. But when I was listening to him, and I'm already on board with the 3D 5D split. I already know that from my own personal downloads. Like he says, it's happening inside of me. I can feel it happening inside of me. And what I feel he means by that, it's happening inside of me, is if you're like on board and you've been wanting this, your body is already adapting. Now I know some of you guys have been following me for a while. You could tell I don't look the same, do I? No. Part of that was also, you could say, my double or higher self, as I've been training for years. When I got really bad, you know, because of COVID, I wasn't leaving the house, I was working from home, I was reading from home, I hardly ever left the house. I got really bad, put down the body and stuff. I gained a lot, I wasn't being healthy, and that's my fault and stuff. And then certain things kicked in last year. I went through a big purge down. A lot of spiritualists did. I'm going to talk about how you can do that. It's not easy, okay? But it prepares you for the 3D, 5D split. But you could say my double higher self, which is pretty developed, put me down like, you got to fix this, you know. And it was definitely, I was up to a point where I did even have an NDE last year, an actual NDE. And when I kind of was there, and it was like I could go, I could see all these warriors, and I could join them if I wanted to. And then, but there was kind of, I did have a choice: do you want to stay or go? And so I ended up making the conscious choice to stay. I was like, I want to see my grandkids grow up and stuff. And things started happening within my body that I cannot explain. But I started dropping weight at a massive rate, and I didn't even know it was happening. You could say the fire within me was ignited and stuff. I was at the point when I almost left, I was zero energy. I had totally been squeezed. And then the fire, something took over. Everything got mad and crazy. And then I got downloaded. But there was definitely also a call. Take out all intoxicants. You got to take them down, which I'm still working on. I'm still working on the smoking. I picked it up again, but I'm very thankful I quit for a year and a half. I did, because that cleared up a lot in my body. It's just a matter of time. I'll drop that. But let's talk about how you can be ready for the 3D, 5D split. The body is a big one, and that's what I'm talking about. Do I look different? Yeah, because I'm getting ready for the 5D earth. And my body, it's like my spirit, you could say, my spirit, not just my soul. Okay, there's soul and spirit. My spirit fixed some things to adjust me to the changes to come. And then there was also preparing as one of the 144K. Okay, there is that. Okay, there is a big thing with many spirit. He is too. Okay, see, that's the thing. They're all over the world. They're in all kind of spiritualities. They're in all kind of religions. Some aren't even of a religion, but there's some kind of spiritualist awakened. And we all have a unique thing in a link, that what links us is we want a better world. Okay? One of peace. And we've had a calling. It's just like the saying, many are called, few are chosen. So there's been a calling, and then there's been a chosen thing. Okay, there's been that. It's like, oh, you want me to do what? Okay, And then, of course, there would be even like for myself, the reason why. Well, I manage a pretty big group of a lot of people, thousands. Okay, so there's that. So Spirit, I know, wants me to guide those people carefully. Okay, there's that. If it was just me, myself, maybe I wouldn't be. Spirit would be like, okay, work on yourself, you're fine. But when you're responsible for that many people, okay, be giving them guidance and readings and helping them on the path, many are called, few are chosen. Okay, so there's that. And I kind of, it's like I didn't, expect it, but it's always been in the back of my mind that something could happen. And then with the changes in the world, any spiritualist worth their salt knows that we're in the times we're in. That this is a time to be awake, aware, and be like, let me get done what I got to get done. Now, also, this is 1 Corinthians 6:19 through 20. The body. Let me talk about that. That's incredibly important. Do you know that your bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit who is in you? In you. Okay? When you have received from God, you are not your own. You were bought at a price. Okay? So this is a big thing. The 144K all have the Holy Spirit in there. Okay? Not everybody does. Not everybody awaken to that magnitude, which could be either the Holy Spirit baptism or known as Kundalini awakening. It's the same thing, guys. Okay, the awakening at the base of the spine, that is the baptism by fire. Not everybody has had that happen. There's many Christians in church that have done the baptism by water but have not been baptized by fire. There is a difference, and that is something Holy Spirit can ultimately set off. Okay, it's hard to explain how it happens. I do know exactly where I was when it happened. And it's something that you know when it happens. It's not a, has it ever happened to me? You know if it's happened. Okay, there's that kind of thing. So, but one of the things we want to realize, the important thing about the scripture I'm trying to get at is your body is a temple of something very special and very divine. Whether you've had the awakening or not, there is still a soul in there. Okay, so one of the things is taking care of the body. There's a lot of people who've been feeling a need to even go vegan or vegetarian, to eat less meat. That is a real symptom of this 3D, 5D split. You may be feeling like, I can't be putting junk in my body anymore. Yes, you can go, obviously the matrix, part of it is to keep you unhealthy. Okay? It keep you unhealthy, keep you sick. So you're going to the doctor, there's cha-ching, and you need medication, cha-ching, offering you no cure, cha-ching, and you have to figure out for yourself the cure. You have to educate yourself. And one of the ways is eat better. Oh, you got diabetes? Change your diet. The doctor won't necessarily say it. Do you guys know, when I did some research before going vegan, which I have this year, that doctors are not educated on nutrition in college? Ask them. Do research. They have maybe a few hours of nutrition, but they are not taught about diet. Okay, so people, and then you got to say why. The matrix, that's why. Okay, because diet is everything. What you put in your body is food, fuel, medicine. So you got to be careful. All this processed food, start eliminating it. If it's in a package, I know some package, like say you have some cereal, okay, there are some things, but be very conscious about what you put in your body. No more fast food. Okay, if you've been thinking about getting away from meat, you're like, I'm in process, I've really been considering going vegan or vegetarian, maybe only fish, or maybe only dairy but no meat, get it done. Okay, the time is now. You're going to feel a lot different when you eliminate it. Last year I eliminated beef, this year I eliminated meat and dairy. Okay, you're going to feel the energy. But of course, consult with doctor, even though they don't know about nutrition. But the main way is educate yourself. Read, watch the videos, educate yourself so you can do it correctly. Take the right supplements. Don't forget B12, that's a big one. But this body. So obviously drinking alcohol and doing things, you want to be eliminating or getting in process of eliminating certain intoxicants that are not good. That is a big one. Overcoming certain desires Those things hook you in there and keep you low vibe. And also, discipline. You got to be a disciplined person in some way. As I talk about the body, exercise, yes, in some way. At least walk around the block. Okay, one of the ways getting sedentary, not taking care of yourself, can hook you into that. And it also affects your consciousness. When you start eating healthier and you start exercising, taking care of your body, taking supplements, however you kind of coordinate it, you're going to feel more empowered. You're going to feel a lot better. The channeled messages are going to come in really good. Okay, there are things like that. So you got to have some kind of discipline. And so I'm a Capricorn, I'm Saturn ruled, I'm all for discipline. So it's just like even when I became a reader, working at that constantly, doing the practice for years and years and stuff to be able to be accurate, working on my connection with the higher self or double. Okay, and stuff. I was able to get accurate because I kept working at it, strengthening it like a muscle. The third eye is a muscle. Okay, the crown chakra, all of that, working at that and being committed to that and having integrity. You got to have that, or spirit will cut you off. Okay, do the right thing, trying to be impeccable with that, and so forth. So one of the things, though, so the way you treat your body, I want you to visualize my body is a temple. I know that. I've heard this scripture by Jesus before. And you know, in other religions, like obviously the Hindus, they're always doing yoga. Start doing yoga could be good. I've been kind of working on that and everything. It's a little painful, but I do it. you know. But taking care of the body, that's going to connect you to source spirit. And it's going to disconnect you further and further from the matrix. That's why. Okay, that's a big one. And then you're going to connect more with the divine self. So get that done and everything. And for certain people, it's like, I just can't give up meat. At least go vegetarian. At least consider things. But please get away from the processed junk, the poisons that they're putting in our food. Okay, you can look at what are all these chemicals I'm ingesting? What are all, oh my God, what is all, look at what you're eating. Be conscious. So many people shut that down because they don't want to look. And they just, oh, it tastes good. Yeah, with a price. With a price. Well, you're bought with a price, just like it says. Okay, so be careful what you put in there. Another thing that can keep you bound to 3D, and I know y'all don't want to hear it. Now, I'm no prude, people. I got a lot of Scorpio in my chart. But sexual desire. Okay, this is one thing that'll keep you hooked in 3D harder than anything is sexual desire. That is a big one. It has to be overcome. Okay. Now, I'm not saying if you're married, you got to give it up. I'm not saying if you're married, do what you want. Okay. You're fine. But you know what I'm saying. And of course, if you've been in a relationship 5 years, you guys love each other. I'm not going to sit there and judge that. That's not what it's about. But when you are hooked in a way, like say, for instance, you break up and you're not with a boyfriend. Let's just say, I'm going to throw the ladies on the spot. It's mainly ladies watch my channel. And it's like, I need a man, I need a man. And you know one of the reasons that you want a man is not just to have a companion, but that. Okay? Take the time, if you had a breakup, to overcome the desire. If you can nip the bud in the desire, you're less apt to make mistakes in relationships. That can be one of the things. People can have a horrible connection, fighting all the time. It's just horrible the way they talk to each other, the way they communicate. They got nothing in common, but they rock it in the bedroom. Okay? And they have a good time then. That's the only thing they got in common and everything. It's the one thing that keeps them going back is that desire and stuff. Or maybe out of loneliness and I want to have those orgasms or whatever. Okay? That is the one thing that will keep you down in 3D harder than anything. Do you want to be stuck in the old world? Okay, now I'm not saying the 5D world that ain't gonna happen. Don't get me wrong and stuff, but you want to have better unions where you've got the whole package, where there's actually love, there's good communication, there's intimacy. Okay, but sexual desire, people just having sex for the sake of having sex, just like when people run around having multiple partners and things like that. No, those things will take you down and stuff. And that's why Satguru, I was watching him on a video one day, and it really blew my mind, but it didn't shock me. He said that he had some friends at Google, and they informed him that 70% of searches on Google are for prawn. I'm going to say it, the prawn. You know what I'm saying. Okay, looking at nudie pictures. Okay, videos. 70%. That is how many people are hooked because of that desire. So there is, it's bad enough you've got people that are hooked on, I'm going to adjust myself, a sexual desire in relationships that they can't, cut certain ones because of that hook. They don't want to give that up. So they might stay in the worst of the worst of the worst relationships just because of that. Or say there's a breakup, they got to go find somebody. A man has to go find a woman has to go find a man, and that's the one thing they're looking for. That's their main thing. They make that the top priority, is sexual desire. Now, we're human, okay? It's natural to feel certain things, but then there are some things that are not natural, like looking at this stuff, obviously, okay, 70% is not natural. Okay, and it's messed over people's minds, it's messed over people's souls and spirit and stuff. A lot of people cannot have a normal relationship with a man or a woman. I will say men have the biggest problem, so let me just say it. A lot of men cannot have a normal relationship with a woman because that's how they grew up on it, they viewed it, they obviously did things to it to relieve themselves. They can't have a normal connection anymore. Sexual desire is the one thing that will keep you in 3D harder than anything. And that it's why a lot of people won't make it. So one of the things is overcoming. Are you in a relationship? And that's the main hook, and that's the main reason. Are you on a dating site because you can't be by yourself because you need that? Is that your reason? And so, like I said, it's okay. There's a natural thing, but then there are certain things that aren't natural, in the sense that being hooked in that way, you can be controlled and stuff. But once you take control of that, oh shit, you could be on top of the world. Okay, if you can overcome desire, that's a big one. Craving, that's what Buddha talked about, and that's a big craving of people. That's one of the things that will keep you hooked. Now, another thing I went through, and a lot of people are 144K went through, I have spoken to them. Last year, the first turn, like when Pluto was going into Aquarius for its first go round, then it went back into Capricorn. Purge. Okay, this is a big one. You can call on about and be like, okay, Spirit, hit me with it. Have your life review now versus crossing over. Now, when you have your life review, you kind of see you're good. Here come the justice scales. You see you're good and you see you're bad. Does the good outweigh the bad, hopefully? Hopefully the good does. Hopefully there's more good here. Okay? But also going through it, when you go through your life review in the physical, which you can do, you will look at the things you did good, but you have to also look at things that maybe you hurt people. Okay? And then come from a place of remorse and ask for forgiveness, going through that process. That is a way of getting clean. So even when the scriptures, when it talks about, that these 144K are virginal, they have purged themselves, they have cleansed themselves. Nobody's a virgin on this planet except kids, right? So, but they have purged themselves and everything, and they have cleaned themselves. This is why. So confession's not necessarily a wrong thing. It doesn't have to be done in a confessional, though. You can do it within your own home and have a serious purge down. So when you have this purge, connect with Source Spirit and just come clean with everything. But you've got to view your life honestly. We also call this recapitulation in Carlos Castaneda, where you can also write everything down, all your experiences. One of the things when you begin to write everything down, which is another technique you can do, you will kind of see a lot more your experiences of who you were. Like I said, does the good outweigh the bad? Now, if the bad is outweighing the good, you can fix that. I want to change my life, Spirit. I want to correct that. And so, please, forgiveness and things. But you may have to kind of go out there and say you're sorry. You may have to go out there and do some things to kind of add to that, sometimes it's not so simple as just having the purge down, but you'll know with spirit, when you've done that. So having a purge, and it could take months to do. It's not just a one night deal, guys. Okay, it could take months to go through a life review. But yes, to experience on earth. Now, if you guys even leave in the comments if you have gone through that last year, because a lot of us did. It's like I had to see my whole life flash before my eyes. I just see from when I was a kid and I did this and I was mean to that kid and I did this and that. Oh, yeah. See, one of the things that's very powerful about that is it's harder to judge people when we have that life review. We're like, hey, I wasn't the greatest person here. Okay, we kind of assess that. We look at that, and that is one of the big ones. Some of these techniques that Jesus has, and I've been talking about it, do not judge. That's one way to make it to 5D. Now, I know we talk about things going on. We got crooked politicians and things like that. Yes, of course. There's an enemy in the story. We get that. Except we're trying, we need the good guys to run, if we're going to elect officials, we want good guys, okay? So we have to be, with that. But we're always praying for them to wake up. I mean, it'd be so much easier. But we don't want to judge. Now, that means also people, we want to remember, I know, there's all this division created. That's part of the Matrix drama, the division that is created. Okay, so we want to be in unity consciousness, not division consciousness. That's going to get us quicker to 5D, right? So we got to understand, what? I know they're they're out there struggling. They've been brainwashed. They've been hypnotized. We kind of know that. They look at us and they think we're crazy. We understand that. Okay, that's the game. That's part of the Matrix setup. But all we can do is kind of educate and speak the truth. Ultimately, that's all we can do. But do not judge should be one of the big things that we teach. Except other religions, don't judge them. There is no one right way religion. I don't care what the Christians say. That's Pharisee stuff. Jesus said, do not judge. He learned from other religions in that 18 years of it, that we can't account for him. There is all kinds of tales of him going here, there, everywhere. Okay? He got educated. That's why he was so different from everybody else, and he said things so differently. He had been around. Okay? He got education. So one of the things, do not judge, is one of his things. The golden rule, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Even, when people are being nice or kind of mean to you and stuff. Now, I know turn the other cheek is kind of hard. I know we can't always do that, okay? But we're trying to, learn, to do that one. Jesus is like, yeah, help me out with that one. That one's not easy, okay? But we do want to stand up for ourselves. We got to speak the truth. And see, that's one of the things he did teach his disciples. Yeah, they risked their lives, didn't they? With speaking the truth. We know that. And stuff. People don't want to hear the truth. And stuff. And the things that they will do, when you're, talking to people in the Matrix. They're programmed. Okay? He understood. Jesus understood they were programmed. So yes, do not judge. Love your neighbor as yourself. The golden rule, do unto others that you would have them do it to you. And yeah, sometimes turn the other cheek. It's not a popular one, but sometimes, he's right. It's like when we hear it, we're like, I don't like that, but, Gandhi made it work in India, okay? And Martin Luther King did make it work out here when it came to the civil rights movement, okay? It's like, yeah, turn the other cheek ain't easy, but it worked. Now, I know sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes it's a challenge and stuff. But yes, we got to stop the endless wars. And see, that's one of the big reasons all this is happening. Okay, there is an energy and many are locking horns. You could say, joining forces. Spiritualists all over the world are somehow able to connect with each other and going, it's time to move. Okay, that's ultimately what's doing it. The Christ consciousness is awake. It's time to move. And we got to shift. So those are some ways. So let's go over that. Take care of your body, what you put into it, who you have sex with. Maybe you should stop, okay, certain things. If you've been having it just for pleasure, okay, certain things, be real conscious of that. But yes, what you're putting into your body, how you're taking care of it, are you moving it? Are you loving it? And yes, self-love, guys. That is a big thing, that is one of the ways of self-love, how you take care of it, how you, others, You know, if they're not treating you good, why are you still in these relationships? I'm talking about friends. I'm talking about even families sometimes. And I'm talking about definitely lovers. Okay? If they're not treating you right and there's nothing happening here, there's no healing going on, why are you still in for the abuse? Okay? Sometimes we got to leave people behind. And that's one of the big ones. Leaving people behind. That what about if, say, you're even in a marriage, or if you're with a partner and they're 3D all the way, maybe they're hooked in addictions or whatever, and you're evolving to 5D. This is a real phenomenon, very big with karmic relationships. We have two karmic partners come together, and it's wound to wound, and they have a karmic contract. Ultimately, it's to evolve. Normally, the way it works is one will begin to evolve spiritually. The other one keeps trying to drag them down to 3D because they don't want to evolve. You know, they'll be like, oh, you're on that, oh, that meditation, that yoga, and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm not interested in that. And then they're trying to pull you down. Hey, let's go out for a drink. You know, that kind of thing. Okay? The 3D, 5D also split can happen between partners. And you see the phenomenon. One is trying to evolve and be better, and maybe the other one doesn't want to evolve. They're in 3D and stuff, but they will keep trying to pull them, just like the Matrix, because they're part of the Matrix. We're going to keep pulling. Oh, no, we don't want to do that. Okay, there's that energy and stuff. But inevitably, what happens is, if all is done right, because it normally is one person evolves first. It's very rare that two karmics evolve at the same time. Not impossible, but rare. They evolve, they're gone. I'm done with it. We have nothing in common anymore, right? There's that. You're not healthy for me. So then the other karmic has this void that is left in them. Their wounds are exposed. The loneliness is there. And now what they have a choice here. They can stay and wallow in 3D. They can look for another partner to fill the void and stay in 3D, and those two bounce off each other. Or they could go, I'm going to fill it with spirit, and I'm going to work on my spiritual path now that this person left me devastated. Now I'll evolve to 5D. That's the way the karmic relationships are. So karmic relationships are a real good indicator of a 3D, 5D split. If you've been kind of going through a situation with that, if you left a relationship, or even if you're in a relationship where you know you shouldn't be in it, and you're evolving and you're trying to grow spiritually, but you just haven't quite let that go, and you need to cut the cord so you can evolve, you need to consider that, because that partner can keep you in the 3D. Sometimes we got to say goodbye, but you actually can do a favor by leaving them, because staying there, they're comfortable in 3D. But when you leave, that shakes them up to the point that after you evolve and go on about your way, that's the point. Spirit wants them to evolve too. And will they do it? So I hope you guys found this. Oh, yes, before I go, I almost said stuff. Here we go. I was just going to pull some cards before the end of it, and look at the top card of this one. This is notice subtle changes. Yes, certain changes that are happening in the matrix. The Spirit's like, wait a minute, don't forget the cards. Color is power. Select a color you don't normally wear. Introduce that in your wardrobe. Changes in the energy field, including your sense of self. I'm wearing red today. You know, and I kind of have that power energy. Your goal: discover how subtle changes can increase or decrease your comfort level, but also notice subtle changes in the matrix. Another one, become better. That's really what Spirit wants us to do. Become better. Discover one thing that would make you better and more empowered at what you do and who you are, and make it a part of your routine. Discipline, guys. Discipline. Okay? If this is difficult, identify why becoming better is something you wouldn't want to do. Your goal: to recognize how and why you sabotage your empowerment. See, Spirit wants you to be better. Of course, Spirit wants us to be better. Be mindful of conflict. Oh, that's a big one. We see conflict going on. Be mindful. I love that word. Name one person with whom you have a power conflict and write an extensive description of the nature of that struggle without assigning blame. Only describe your own issues. Your goal: to become mindful that remaining in conflict is a choice. Are you constantly in conflict with a partner, with a friend, with a family member? Be mindful of that. Write out everything in the dynamic with that and stuff. That will also help you in dealing with the collective, which is all about conflict. Okay? And then this one, pay attention to your body. This is all about this guy. This here, the temple. Okay? On this day, think about one thing that your body requires that it didn't need yesterday. Listen, observe, and pay attention to the physical, emotional, mental, and psychological stresses in your body and respond to one of them fully and consciously. Your goal to pay attention to your body in every way. Yes, being in tune with the body. You are not a soul separate from the body. Your body is required in this interaction and stuff, and it does influence the soul and spirit. So taking care of it, putting the right foods in it, not abusing it. Okay? And one more. Yes, identify your health related fears. Except if you've been dealing with health things, there are things you can correct. Change your diet. Start exercising. Drink more water. Have green tea. Educate yourself how to take care of your body if you do not know how. There's a whole lot of stuff on this. One thing about Matrix, there's a whole lot of stuff on the internet to educate yourself. Ask yourself if you're afraid to heal. Your conscious mind may say no because that's the logical reply. But this question is for that deeper part of you, your emotional self, which might have developed fears about becoming healthy. Your goal to explore whether you have deep-seated reasons and want to postpone healing. Don't postpone healing. So that's some ways to ascend to 5D. I'm going to be following things. I want to keep an eye on the world, absolutely. But I also need to get more spirit taught content. I will get that to you guys. All right, I do hope this helps and everything. You guys, take care of yourself.